kan vir u hoor. Hard en duidelik, baie dankie.
Minutes or 15 minutes before the time.
Good morning, Alderman De Vries. Can you hear us? Good morning, Alderman De Vries. Can you hear us? Alderman De Vries, can you hear us? Mr. Gerard Otto, can you hear us? Dr. Adele Potgieter, can you hear us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Potgieter. Thank you. We can hear you loud and clear as well. Mr. Gerard Otto, can you hear us?
Good morning, Rihanna. I can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can hear you as well. Good morning, Councillor Gungubele. Can you hear us? Good morning, Councillor Gungubele. Can you hear us? Alderman De Vries, can you hear us?
Good morning, Rihanna. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, Alderman De Vries, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Gungubele, can you hear us? Councillor Gungubele.
Hi.
Good morning,
Hello.
We can hear you, Councillor Gungubele. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No. Oh.
Ms. Pamela Lufele, can you hear us? Mr. Clive Africa, can you hear us?
Thank you, Rihanna. Loud and clear. Good morning.
Thank you. We can hear you as well. Pamela Lufele, can you hear us?
Hi, Rihanna. Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. We can hear you loud and clear as well.
Thank you.
Alderman van der Hoeven, can you hear us?
Loud and clear, Rihanna. Good day, everybody.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Councillor Matiwane, can you hear us? Good morning, Councillor Matiwane. Can you hear us?
Thank you, Rihanna. Notice is hereby given in terms of Section 29 of the Local Government Municipal Structures Act 117 of 1998. At the council meeting of the 2016-2021 term of the Garden Route District Municipality will be held via Zoom on Tuesday, 30 March 2021 at 11 hours to consider the items set out in the agenda. Molweni, goeiemorgen. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, our Executive Mayor, our Deputy Executive Mayor, all the beautiful elder ladies and the not so beautiful elder men, our special guest, Dr. Potgieter, our APAC Chair, our Municipal Manager, I call him Mampuri, it means champion, with the Executive Managers, and all our precious staff, Herman, Communication Section, all the, and I see my good friend here on the right-hand side, Tati, welcome. Thank you so much for your attendance. May I please ask that we now stand up, the gentlemen, as a mark of sympathy of those that has passed on due to the gender-based violence, and let's also think about of those people that was affected and are still being affected by COVID-19. Thank you. Thank you very much. Be seated. Colleagues, we've got a very special person in our midst this morning. And I would request that we deal with that item very, as the very first item. That's item C1. It's the inauguration of DA Councillor Garden Route District Municipality, Councillor Anku Barker. Can we move to that item then, C1? On the screen, please. That C1 differs from the hard copy that's in front of me. There you are. There is a recommendation that cognizance be taken of the notice from the IEC dated 23 March 2021 that Councillor Ankubaka be inaugurated to be a councillor of the Gardenwood District Municipality with effect from 23rd of March 2021. That Councillor Ankubaka be requested to take the oath of office as required in terms of the municipal statute, oath of office and or confirmation. May I then ask our MF or our advocate, please to assist with the process further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. The recommendations are on page 807. We just going to request a proposer and a seconder, and then the Secretary of Council will invite the to be inaugurated councillor to move to the podium and take the oath. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. Can I get a proposer that we adopt the recommendation? I see two hands.
Elderly writers propose.
Elder Lady Writers, our Deputy Executive Manager, and the Councillor Spies. Thank you so much. Then the resolution carries. Thank you. Thank you, Advocate.
All right, Speaker, can I please request Ms. Ankubaka to come here in front as we take the oath? Thank you, Councillor Baka. Will you please repeat after me as we take this oath? I, Anko Baka, hereby swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the Gardenwood District Municipality to the best of my ability. Please raise your hand and say so.
Speaker, we can't hear anything. Speaker, it's Piet van der Hoeven here. I can't hear anything. I don't know whether it concluded.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. We just did the inauguration of Councillor Ankubaka. I now give opportunity to our Executive Mayor and any other colleague that would like to, on behalf of Council, also congratulate and welcome our new Councillor.
Thank you, Speaker. Councillor Baka. Jy is van Mosselbaai. So jy is nou amptelik verbind aan die twee beste munisipaliteite in die land. Sonder onomwonde. Mosselbaai en Gardenwood. Soos ek jou gesê het,
Speaker, there's really a problem with the sound unless my sound is, I'm the only one with bad sound.
Hoe's dit nou?
Baie beter, dankie.
Okay. Councillor Bakker, ons as Gardenwood District is baie trots op die feit dat ons 'n sekere standaard handhaaf met ons governance, met ons kompromieë en die algemene omgang van hoe ons as kollegas met mekaar saamwerk. Ek is seker daarvan die oppositie sal daarvan getuig. Hulle beklei baie, maar ons verstaan mekaar aan die einde van die dag en ek hoop jy geniet jou tyd hierso. Die mense wat jy om jou sien, die officials, is highly capable. Dis mense wat altyd bystaan om vir jou 'n hand te gee en vir jou leiding te gee. So maak gebruik van hulle expertise. Baie welkom in die DA caucus in Garden Road. Dankie.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Before I give Alderman van der Hoeven an opportunity, Cathy Desha, would you like to interpret what Councillor Spies has said, please?
Thank you,
Speaker. Speaker.
I'm hearing you. We're busy.
Okay, thank you very
I'll
much.
give you-
Can
I'll
you
give you an
up your
oppor-
voice when you are? Can you talk a little bit louder when you speak, because I can't hear you. I've heard Councillor Spies, but I can't hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll try my best. That better? Please proceed.
Enkosi Somlomo. Ceba uBhaka mandikwamkele ngokusesikweni ke komasipala besithili ababini boMzantsi Afrika, iGarden Route kunye ke and Mossel Bay Municipality. Thina ke sinohlobo oluthile esenza ngalo umsebenzi singumasipala wesithili. Singamagosa ke xa besingoceba kunye noceba bombutho abaphikisayo nabangakugcina oko kuba indlela esebenzisana ngayo inhle kakhulu iyamangalisa. Ukambi ke namagosa nawo alapha kumasipala ngamagosa athi asincedise ke ngomsebenzi siwenzayo. Ndikwamkele kakhona ke nakwigugula le-DA kumasipala wesithili isithi kuwe ke sawusebenzisana kamandi. Inkosi.
Because can I then give an opportunity to Alderman van der Hoeven?
Thank you, Speaker. Sorry for the delay, but it takes a bit time to unmute myself. Speaker, okay, I'll deal with that later. First of all, Speaker, I want to say also to Councillor Barker, welcome to the Garden Route district. I'm the Chief Whip of the ANC. I wish we could see each other. We are in a disadvantaged position. We could not even see when you were standing at the podium and when you made your oath, Speaker. We are in a very disadvantaged setup here on Zoom. You can see me if I put my camera on, but we can't see what's going on in the chambers, and we can't see a new councillor. And tomorrow I may bump into in a shopping center, and I won't even know that is a new councillor. Speaker, perhaps you can send us a picture or a photo of so that we can all realize or know who the new councillor is. But welcome to the district. I echo what this Councillor Spies has said regarding mutual respect and vigorous debate. I think we are much more advanced than many other councillors. And although I don't want to give any praises to the DA, the Speaker is doing an exceptional job. And I think you're going to enjoy it. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let me then ask our new Councillor Barker. We're trying to move the camera, but I think it's a bit technical. Can I please ask, with your indulgence, just to so that all the other councillors can see who our new Councillor Barker is. There you are. Can everybody see our new Councillor Barker now?
So yeah, nou kan ons sien.
Sure, Speaker, that you should have done that right in the beginning. Thank you, Speaker. Appreciate that. Speaker, but really, Speaker, we want to see what's going on in the chamber, and all we see is long tables and no faces. Thank you, Speaker, for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that input, Alderman van der Werven. Thank you so much. We'll try our level best to do that. I don't know if we've got a cameraman here or a camera lady, but let's try our best. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
Yes, Speaker, morning. My hand is up.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, colleagues. Let me just oblige to duty and also welcome Councillor Barker to the Garden Route District Municipality, the council. Hearty welcome. May you have a good stay, a good journey. We act very respectful towards one another in this council. We speak in a decent and respectful way. We understand one another. We differ constructively. And it's away from other councils that we know that looks almost like a squatter camp. This is a decent council, and we do the things in a decent way here. And all the praises, not only to the speaker alone, but the mayor listens to us. We have an excellent municipal manager and executive managers and all staff. We must say this. And sometimes some of your colleagues come with their DA agendas. It doesn't hold water here. Peace is a culprit in this regard, but we rule him out very quickly. Speaker, have a great time, a great meeting. I will speak to you later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alderman Gericke. Any other councillor? None. Thank you so much. Warm welcome to you, Councillor Anke Barker. We're looking forward to your contributions. We know that you've got lots of talent. We know that you believe in action with passion. You've got the passion. And I know that you also practice service above self. Very welcome. Please enjoy your stay. And if there's anything from the Speaker's office you need, please just press our button. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Is it necessary that we proceed still to do the attendance? Not necessary. We've got it recorded. So can I move then to the next item? I've been asked here, is it necessary that we flight the agenda on the screen? Because then you don't see anything in the council chamber or anything else but the agenda itself. Or will you follow it on your tablets? And those that do have still hard copies, will you be able to follow it in your hard copies? Or would you like us to, rather than to flight the agenda? Any suggestion?
I'm not sure if Councillor van der Werven can handle two devices at the same time.
No, Speaker, my hand was up on this one. Speaker, I think you can proceed without showing the agenda on the screen, because I think we all have access to the agendas, unless there's another input in that regard. But I think you can proceed. I think it's wonderful to see what is happening in the chamber for the first time.
Thank you, Alderman van der Werven. Lots of friendly phrases waving to you now as you speak here from the chambers. Applications for leave of absence. I've received an application for leave of absence from Councillor Lose. He's got an appointment with his medical practitioner. I've received a request from Alderman Gericke that's got some commitments due to the passing on of a community leader at 12 o'clock. I've received a notice also from Elder Lady Wolmerans. If the meeting should proceed post 14:30, that she also then be excused. Have we received any other applications for leave? Councillor Spies.
Yes, Speaker, I just want to inform you that I will leave early, but I will continue on the Zoom link as soon as I leave here.
Thank you. I've also just now received WhatsApp from Alderman de Vries requesting to be excused at 13 hours. He's got another meeting in Johannesburg. Any other applications for leave of absence of councillors?
Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Thank you for reading out my apology. Let me also just use this opportunity to make upfront or to render an upfront apology for the workshops of Thursday. I officiate a funeral on Thursday, and I just want to place on record that I won't be able to attend the committee meetings. Mr. Menzi, that's the good news for you, that I won't attend the committee meetings, and also very good news to your colleague of Spies. Spies, jy moet mooi wees.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
Lekker Easter. Ou.
Our Alderman Gericke is also a pastor, and he's got some other commitments as well. Thank you. Can we then move to item 4?
Speaker, sorry. Speaker.
Councillor Majid, please proceed.
Sorry, Speaker, to interrupt you so rudely. Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, everyone. Speaker, I couldn't hear whether you have mentioned in your apologies, Councillor Jenny Hartnick. She also made an apology. I'm not 100% sure. I just want to render an apology for as well. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Majid. We can just, I'll just make sure that I'll forward the leave also to the administration. Thank you. Then we move to item 4, noting the provisions of Schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct for Councillors of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act 2000. It's going to become part of the Structures Act. That amendment goes through. We must sincerely take note of those provisions. Can we take note of that? Thank you.
Noted, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Executive Mayor. Disclosure of interest by councillors and officials. Anybody that would like to declare the pecuniary interest on any item that serves before council? Thank you, Municipal Manager.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to declare my interest in the item in the addendum. That is the performance report. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Ndati Menze.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to make a declaration on the item on the addendum.
Thank you, Ndati Menze. There's our Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Speaker. I also declare my interest in that same item.
Thank you. Our Executive Manager, Mr. Wolshausen.
Thank you, Speaker. Trix want to declare their interest in the item as indicated by the previous senior managers.
Thank you, Trix. I also see at times, I see when I go shopping, I see some biscuits called Trix. And when I go past the chocolate stand, I see some Easter eggs called Barney. Thank you, Executive. That's not a proposal, Trix.
Good morning, Speaker. Club Africa Executive Manager Community Services. I would also like to declare my interest in the agenda item dealing with performance evaluations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ndati Africa.
Good morning, all. Thank you, Speaker. I also want to declare on the same item.
Thank you. That is our Executive Mayor, Executive Manager, Roads. It immediately pops up to mind. This is the road to hell. But we're not going to sing that song today. You create roads to heaven. Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to declare my interest on the very same item that we will deliberate in the item.
Thank you. Thank Thank you. I then give an opportunity, as I've mentioned before, that I would like to change our rules of order, make certain amendments to it, and I invited all councillors please to submit any proposal on any amendment of the rules of order. It's still a policy, and I explained why it's still a policy and not a bylaw yet. We've got it on APRO, and we've been doing the new rules for about 4, 5, 6 months now already. So one of those changes is that I would first of all give the Executive Mayor an opportunity to do his communications before I do it as Speaker. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and greetings to all the councillors and to all the officials. Mr. Speaker, I also want to make use of this opportunity to officially welcome Councillor Barker. Councillor Barker, I echo the words that the previous councillors have uttered, that we are a team indeed, and you are more than welcome. And it is also correct that we work together and we don't pull rank. All inputs are equally important. And once again, welcome to Garden Route. Mr. Speaker, then I would like to remind all the people in the Garden Route, all the people in the Western Cape, all the people in South Africa, although one can sense that there is a lull regarding COVID-19, and I think it's probably due to COVID-19 fatigue, but you don't see what we've seen right in the beginning, where people were really as careful as possible. But I'd just like to emphasize, Mr. Speaker, that we're all aware that the Easter weekends are coming up, and we know what happens during Easter. There are big congregations during Easter weekend, and it is still our plea as the leadership that people must still exercise extreme caution. They must stick to the regulations. They must try their best not to be as close as possible. Social distancing is very important. And for that matter, Mr. Speaker, between ourselves as the Garden Route District Municipality, the South African Local Government Association, and the United Nations Development Program, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, we've already, again, just to emphasize, we've distributed PPEs to all the municipalities within the Garden Route, just as a sign or an indicator that we're still very much concerned that COVID-19 is still with us. We are, though, concerned, Mr. Speaker, that the rollout of the vaccine is not going as quickly as expected. But I know that people higher up are definitely dealing with that behind the scenes. And Mr. Speaker, I'm also very excited to mention that there's really a lot that the Garden Route is doing, especially to deal with the job losses during the COVID-19 and the lockdown, unexpected consequences. And we've realized at the Garden Route that to prepare for the future is to equip the youth. And this is exactly what we've done, and this is exactly what we're busy with. I have seen correspondence, Mr. Speaker, that some of our NQF learners are graduating, and some of them, Mr. Speaker, they will be placed, and others we will do whatever we can to make sure that their training don't go to waste. And also at the very same time, Mr. Speaker and councillors, I've also noticed that there's a new intake, because these things are based on time frame strict, if I'm correct, 6 months at a time or so. And I know that there is a new intake. My plea, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of council to all the relevant officials, is that we must track them and we must trace them to make sure that nothing goes to waste in terms of what has been invested in them, and also for them to be able to put their skills to good use. And then, Mr. Speaker, a couple of weeks ago, we as this council, we approved funding for some boreholes in Collegedorp and the vicinity between Oudtshoorn and Collegedorp, Lady Smith. And Mr. Speaker, in terms of the MFMA, it is required from us to follow the money. Whenever we fund, we must follow, and there must be follow-ups, Mr. Speaker. We've done exactly that yesterday. Myself and a few officials, senior officials, people with the know-how in science and everything that goes with it, accompanied me to Collegedorp to go and have a look at the boreholes, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I must say that there's very, very good news. People are excited. They did eventually discover water, Mr. Speaker, and we know that water is life, and this is probably the thing that farmers want. Farmers need water, and they want water, and the rest they'll do themselves. And this is what has transpired in this exercise, Mr. Speaker. They've bored three boreholes, and in all three boreholes there's good news. And the reason why, and I've learned that yesterday there, is to make sure that they don't abuse one borehole at a time, so they'll alternate between the boreholes. But there's still a lot to be done, Mr. Speaker. And as things unfold, we will then report on a regular basis to this council in terms of what difference the taxpayers' money within our care has been doing in that part of the world. But I must say, Mr. Speaker, and this also came to my attention yesterday, sometimes I don't understand South Africa. Mr. Speaker and councillors, now because we have, or the farmers have discovered water, and obviously these farmers in that area, they're starting the 8th year of drought, which then means because now water's been discovered, they are anticipating what's going to happen next, municipal manager. And what I've learned yesterday, some of the farmers have now started to prepare their land because there'll be water coming. And for some strange reason, and Mr. Speaker, they mentioned this to see if we can be in their corner and assist them in terms of how does one overcome this. The Department of Environmental Affairs stopped some of the farmers from preparing their land because for some reason, in the laws of South Africa, if you have not used your land for 10 years, there's another process which you need to follow before you can cultivate. Now, Mr. Speaker, I don't know what one has to do, and they've been stopped. So it is something which we would have to follow up as the district municipality and engage the relevant departments at provincial level and at national level, because it doesn't make sense. You're preparing your land because there's a possibility that you will have water. You didn't do your land because for the past 8 years you had no water, and then they've been stopped, Mr. Speaker. That is crazy. And this is, Mr. Speaker, and I'm going to say this politically because normally it's a political action. Sometimes people go to the street for things that are illegal, and these are the kind of things that we should be seeing, that we don't agree with some of the laws that causes, I don't even know what the word is, Mr. Speaker, because they contributing to the lack of food security, but Mr. Speaker, on that note, I just want to say that I will keep council posted in terms of how we'll be dealing with that, because these farmers are now confused that they've been stopped to prepare for the water which is coming. And yes, I'll stop there, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Executive Mayor. Well, I would say on the water that we got, Pula, that is Jainti, the Pula. We say thank you because without water there's no life. Thank you, Kriana. Alderman van der Hoeven, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. My hand was actually up on your item, communications by the Speaker, because I wanted to request you, Speaker, to move the item on the IDP forward because Councillor Alderman De Vries is going to deal with that item on our behalf, and as already deliberated or communicated with us is that he has requested to leave earlier. So please, Speaker, if you can do that on our behalf. Then as far as the mayor is concerned, the mayor's input. First of all, he referred to COVID-19. We're not going to say anything on that because there is an item on that. There is an item on COVID-19, and we will reserve all our input in that regard when that item comes up. So we will not take up any time on that one. The issue of the NQF learners, the graduation, I received an invitation. I think all councillors basically receive an invitation. Concern is that it's clashing with a George Council meeting. Why do we schedule such important events when it's clashing with other responsibilities of councillors? I think it's a great day, and it's fantastic that that happens, and I wish that we could attend that. Then as far as the balls are concerned, Speaker, you paid a visit to Calitzdorp. Next time, Mr. Mayor, please invite the opposition to accompany you on these expeditions. I think it's important that we show unity also in that, and that we are also on part of fully informed on those issues. I think that is where service delivery really comes in, and public participation. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Councillor Harris, thank you.
Dankie Speaker en goeiemôre almal en burgemeester. Ek wil ook net welkom sê aan ons nuwe raadslid, Uncle Baker. Wees welkom hier binne van ICAUSA se kant af. Mr. Speaker, baie dankie. Ons verstaan dat ons nou in 'n Easter weekend moet ingaan. Van ons kant af wil ons net die publiek vra en die gemeenskap binne die tuinroete om baie meer versigtig te wees. Ons weet die geskiedenis leer ons dat daar baie gevare plaasvind, ongelukke, alkoholmisbruik en so voort. Maar ook een van die groot bekommernisse is die groot kerksaamtrekke. En ons wil graag op hulle beroep doen om die COVID-19 protocols en regulasies streng na te volg, want dit word ook beskou as 'n superspreader en dat interprovinsiale toere sal plaasvind en dat ons baie meer versigtig sal wees ten opsigte van die voorkoming en van die verspreiding van die COVID-19 en ons wil nie graag ewen dit geld ook vir ons eie raadslede en amptenare wat miskien 'n wegbreek kan sien na familie of so, dat hulle ook sal versigtig wees en dat na die Easter weekend ons almal weer veilig sal wees by die werk. Baie dankie, Mr. Speaker.
We are still with the communications of the Executive Mayor. Yes, Rihanna. Alderman Gericke and Alderman De Vries. Thank you, in that order.
Yeah, Speaker, thank you very much indeed. Let me also just start with the Easter weekend, as per the speech of the mayor. We'd want to call on all citizens in the region of the Garden Route to remain vigilant towards the COVID-19 pandemic, handle your social distance, wash your hands and stay safe, sanitize. And then also just to come in with regard to church gatherings, I know that everybody is very careful to speak about this. Church gatherings are regarded as being a super spreader by the learned people of this country and by researchers. We understand, Mr. Mayor, we see frequently in the media the protests from church leaders from different corners, how they force their way to force the government to open up, for more people to attend churches and gatherings and so on. Our view is, as the PBI, churches are a super spreader because people are singing, people are hugging each other, and people are interacting, and we must be very careful with regard to those gatherings, and we call on church leaders not to overstep the line, but to remain with the 50% as has been prescribed by national government and by the Department of Health. The rollout of the vaccines, it's basically, it's sad news to hear this, Mr. Mayor, through the speaker, because we thought we were going to be on par in this region with regard to the vaccination of our people, and particularly the frontliners. It would appear now that it is not the case. Therefore, we call on the Department of Health, the Provincial Department of Health for that matter, to check up and to roll out ASAP. And then just lastly, on the boreholes, yes, it is a great initiative by yourself and much respected. We have debated that item, and we are in support of lending a hand to farmers in this regard. However, let me just say that the governments, the local governments around that area, must take full responsibility for the failure of the farming projects of those farmers for not securing or assisting them, in securing water resources. The political office bearers of those regions must take full responsibility. And I want to call on you as the relevant authority and to all other authorities to investigate why there was a reluctance to assist those farmers, to bring a formal investigation as to why those farmers were not assisted to proceed with their farming and their projects in this regard. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Alderman De Vries.
Good morning, goeiemôre Speaker. Ek hoop jy kan my hoor. Speaker, I just want to make a comment on the input of the mayor. I'm not sure whether I've heard the mayor correctly, whether he's calling the public for disobedience in terms of the water issue. I think the suggestion I would like to make is that now that the executive mayor and us as the Garden Route municipality is aware of the concerns and challenges that the farmers have in terms of preparing their land, is for us to communicate with the Department of Environmental Affairs and ask a meeting so that we also understand before we respond without having enough information to respond to those issues. So my advice to the executive mayor is that if it haven't been done yet, is let's engage the Department of Environmental Affairs as the Garden Route and bring the stakeholders together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Spies.
So I want to call a point of order on those glasses of Councillor.
I can see clearly now. Thank you. I will then proceed to the speaker's communications. Councillor Matiwani, can you hear me? Councillor Matiwani, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Speaker.
I would just like to wish you a happy birthday on your 23rd of April. Enjoy your day and God bless.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And then I would just like to say that I adhere to the request that we move items B, and I'll call them out, B1. I'm going to do the annual report, renumber it. B4 will then be second. It will then be the oversight report, and then the performance assessment report. So I'm going to move that on our agenda so that we can do that immediately after we consider the minutes. If that's fine with everyone. Reason being is some councillors requested that they be excused. And I think, I don't want to say these are the most important items on our agenda, but it is very important issues that we need to consider. And I would love to grant the opportunity to everybody to participate when we get to these discussions. If it's fine with the Secretariat. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you, councillors. We will do it in that way. And from the Speaker's office side, geseënde Paasfees vir julle. Geseënde Paase. God bless. That's all from my side. Thank you. We then move to the communications of our municipal manager. Thank you, Tati. Mondestrato.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning again, Speaker, Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and councillors, colleagues. I have a few, including Councillor Anko Barker, that has joined us. And I also want to note the attendance of the chairperson of the Audit and Performance Committee to this very important meeting. Speaker, this is probably the last annual report this council will consider. For us, it is a great day indeed that up to this far, we have been able to return again a very well assessed annual report. And it feels good to sit here to report again that we have done our work to the best of our ability. We have been audited, and if it was not for technicalities that emanate from previous years, we are this financial year bringing you a clean audit. You will be interacting with the annual report. I'm sure you've been doing it since you received the draft last year. We have now, after having been delayed by the Auditor General for a long time, been able to finalize and attach all the necessary documents, including the Audit Committee's report and the Oversight report. And today we're presenting a complete annual report for your approval. It is indeed a great day for us. And to this end, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to members of the Audit Committee and to members of MPEG who really worked very hard under very, very short timelines to look at all the reports and conclude their work by yesterday. If it was not for them, I'm sure we would be non-compliant for this financial year. And we're very grateful to Dr. Potgieter, Councillor Lichaba, and your teams for really assisting us. Speaker, I'm indebted to my colleagues, the executive management, for the sterling work that they've done to ensure that we deal with the Auditor General's queries up to the very end. I'm indebted, Speaker, to my staff, Mr. Loliwe, Advocate Makregeni, Advocate Nadima Davids, and everybody that I've not mentioned specifically, Ilse, for all the work, colleagues, that has been done. We are presenting today, Speaker, an Auditor General's report that is unqualified, and our financial statements are free of material misstatements. Our performance information is unqualified, and we have done all the necessary compliance requirements, except, as I say, the BAC matter that we've been dealing with since the previous years. Speaker, it would not have been possible if it was not the contribution of everyone in the organization, from data capturers, clerks, everybody that works to ensure that these council's affairs are recorded properly, and we're grateful to them. We're also grateful to you as council for your oversight that you perform on a regular basis, and you will note that in the various documents, the assessment of the Auditor Generals on council as an assurance provider has changed from the previous assessment to a green one, which shows an improvement, which is a great thing for us, and we are very grateful to the administration, to council, and to everyone. Speaker, moving forward, we will be having our strategic planning, the institutional one, on 14 and 15 April. Again, this is probably the last strategic planning session for this council, and we want councillors to bring their A game to ensure that you protect your legacy. Whatever you leave behind, it's something that you can be proud of. We also are tabling, Speaker, a draft budget, which is again probably the last budget for this council, and we do invite councillors to interrogate the budget figures moving forward. We'll have a long session during the strategic planning session to go into details of the budget. So today, you do not necessarily need to bring everything, but start the process and ensure that when the budget is tabled in May, it is something that you can look back and said, when we were councillors at Garden Route, this is what we left behind. Indeed, it's a short year, Speaker, because from today up to August, that could be the last time we meet as this term, because all systems, it looks like that there will be an election this year after all. And we hope that the vaccination rollout and everything else will assist the population to be able to participate in this very important undertaking. And talking about vaccination, Speaker, we can report, and I think we have shared with councillors information on the employees of the Garden Route that have been vaccinated. And as at yesterday, we had vaccinated about 25 frontline workers of the Garden Route District Municipality. We all depend on the availability of vaccines, and until vaccines are available, it's going to be a very slow process, and we request that we adhere to protocols. We are happy to report, Speaker, that as things are now, we have no case of COVID in the institution of Garden Route. We have no hospitalization, and we have not had any fatality. Everybody is COVID-free, that is in the family of Garden Route, and we are very happy about that, and want to encourage our colleagues to continue to adhere to the protocols. The mayor has spoken about the dead interns that are finishing tomorrow. Congratulations to them. We are very happy for them having gone through their staff, and we hope to take other intakes. With that, Speaker, that is the communication from myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Municipal Manager.
Our Speaker, I just want to warn the MM that if Ka'ais is not the Secretary General of the ANC at the end of the month, we're not going to have local election.
But I think we can all give an appreciation and thanks. We'll get to that in the reports. Let's give our administration, municipal manager, and everybody involved of this. I think we're one of very few, if not the only one, that could have done the audit report and the annual report in such a small time. Can we just give them a hand? Thank you. We are then under item 9, that's approval of the council meeting minutes. The minutes of the council meeting that was held on the 23rd of February. And from my side, from the Speaker's office side, I would like to thank our Secretariat again for a very neat and exact minutes that were kept. And I had to go through it three times to find something. And at last I found one. And that is Tertius, Minister Tertius Simmers' name is spelled Tertius, and not IUS. I think there are only about 4 such Tertiuses in the country. But congratulations, I present to you the consideration of the approval of the minutes. Thank you.
Speaker, sorry for that, my hand wasn't up. But can we applaud the administration for spelling Tertius' name wrong?
It has been done. I hope he's not watching on YouTube.
Perhaps, Speaker, can we keep it like that?
Thank you. I take it that's a proposal.
Speaker, I propose with the correction of Tertius' name.
Thank you, Alderman Reiters. Alderman Gericke.
Yeah, I just want to say all the officials and politicians that laugh for their joke of Councillor van der Woof, Alderman van der Woofen, will be regarded as complicit to the crime.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Seconded.
I second.
Thank you. We then move to item 10. That's the minutes of the Mayoral Committee meeting that was held on the 22nd of January. That's 10.1, pages 35 to 53. We can just take cognizance of that with thanks for the work done. Thank you. We then move to the minutes of the Education, Training and Development Committee that was held on the 12th of February 2021, pages 54, pages 59. Councillor Spies.
I'll let Councillor De Vries confirm the correctness of that, Chair.
Thank you.
Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman De Vries. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Speaker,
you're welcome.
Sorry, I'm back. Sorry, I for a moment was disconnected. Speaker, my assumption was that we just take note of the minutes, and on the question of Councillor Spies, yes, there is a reflection of that meeting. Perhaps, Speaker, maybe just an update. We had another meeting as the committee, so the process of the approval by the committee for recommendation to the executive mayor and the municipal manager have been completed, the staff members will now be informed in terms of those that was successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. I know that, and I'm just sharing this with you, just a thought of what has just happened. We know that we can only take note of those minutes because it's that committee and that committee that must consider the correctness thereof. And for those of us that studied law and that know administrative law, it is a principle as functus officio, which means once you've exercised your office, you cannot change it. And somebody else can't change your resolution post your administrative action. That's a legal, establishing legal rights and responsibilities. And that is a principle as functus officio, am I correct, Advocate? But what we may do, and with your permission, what Alderman De Vries has just done is to update council, not to consider the minutes, and I hate matters arising out of the minutes. It should be banned wherever it comes from. What needs to get done is you need to submit progress reports on previous resolutions. You never should discuss matters arising again. So I don't want to create a matters arising atmosphere, but I allowed Alderman De Vries to respond in short, and fortunately, he shared some good news and progress with us. And that is the reason why I allowed him. I did not, and I want not to create a precedent that we're going to discuss matters arising of any committee of the minutes of which he must only take cognizance of. We're going to have a repeat of that meeting in council chambers, which I will not allow. I just wanted to explain myself why I allowed it. Thank you. Can we then move to Alderman De Vries, please proceed.
Speaker, just on the point that you just raised, and also not for debate, but I think it's important that because we are 79 committees, we don't report via the executive mayor where these reports are being discussed. And the executive mayor then reports to council. I think that perhaps we must just have a discussion in terms of how do we allow still council members to have questions on reports that come from 79 committees, because the council is the only opportunity for them if there's any clarifications. So perhaps we must just discuss that, the two of us, just how we deal with that in future. Because it is a report of the work of the committee to council. Thank you.
Thanks so much. We can do that at our governance meeting. And I invite any councillor also to through these words, Chief Whip, to make his contribution in this regard. Thank you so much. We can consider the questions that must, once you receive the agenda and you see the minutes, you can then send your question to the relevant chairperson, and I could then allow the question to be discussed as a question in terms of the rules at the council meeting. But it's technical and we can sort it out. Thank you, Alderman. I said that we're going to move B1. So it's the Garden Route District Municipality Draft Integrated Development Plan. And following that, we're going to do the annual report for 2019-2018. We're going to then move to the oversight report, your B5. And then we're going to the B5, the performance assessment. And then we go to the report on the SDBIP. And then I move back to A1. So if it's fine with everyone, like my old speaker, Barry Segotso, also asked, are we still together? Are we still together? Thank you. It's only an hour. You don't need a leg stretch. Aware to. I think that's an amount. Thank you. We are then with the at B1. There's a Garden Route District Municipality Draft 2021-22 Integrated Development Plan. Afrikaans, die Garden Route Concept, Gods onmoontlike plan. Pages 89 to 461. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would hereby, in terms of the relevant laws and my duties and responsibilities, put this in front of council for deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Alderman De Vries, you wanted to speak on this matter? Is reg oom Ben, 2 suiker sonder melk, dankie.
Speaker, let me start by your words. In fact, that when you say that you couldn't find fault with the minutes, I want to say that in terms of an IDP document, that also in terms of content, in terms of layout, also is very difficult to find fault. I think that we must congratulate the municipal manager and his team because year on year, our IDP document have improved. So we want to extend that congratulations to them as a team. Speaker, our concern though on the IDP is not the document and the content. It's just in terms of process. We were supposed to have a council workshop and that workshop was cancelled. Now, as the ANC, we have always raised this issue that it's important that as a council that even before we have the draft IDP, as the executive mayor earlier mentioned and the other speakers, in terms of the way we are working together. That is important that we have input as councils before it goes out to our community or for the public comment. As with the budget, normally also we will say is that we will never want to see a situation where we change and make drastic changes in any one of those documents after we have put it out for public comment. And based on the spirit that we have as a council in terms of inclusiveness, that those practices that we had is important that we follow. Now we will understand that this year it's going to be a bit more difficult to stay within all our frameworks and sometimes practices because of the additional work with the formulation of the one plan. And that in the IDP is going to be overlap. So we understand the difficulties and the complexities that will be there this year. But we would like that while this is just the tabling of the IDP, that workshop, and we're not sure anything, I know there was a discussion that it might happen this afternoon, but that we have sufficient time for us as the council to workshop this document. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I give our municipal manager an opportunity? Thank you, MM.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think, Speaker, the comments are very valid in the sense that we've been seriously pressured in terms of time and we had to cancel other engagements. It is not that we really want to short-circuit the process. And we will try by all means to ensure that councillors are given a fair and reasonable opportunity to engage with these documents. We have noted, Councillor De Vries, that our dates are so packed that sometimes we are not able to find councillors. And knowing that we're a district municipality, sometimes you are double booked and it becomes difficult. But please trust us. We will make sure that we take you through the IDP. We were discussing this morning that we should make sure that what goes to the public must not substantially change, because that would be tantamount to misleading the public. But we'll make sure that we give the councillors the opportunity. We are not going to discuss the IDP this afternoon. It's not part of the workshop. What we want to do with the workshop in a very short space of time, just to explain the budget, the draft budget itself, but we'll allow councillors an opportunity to interact with both the budget and the IDP at an appropriate time. But thank you for those comments, and we'll make sure that we stick to the frameworks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. Any further input, contributions? Councillor Harris?
Ja, baie dankie, Mr. Speaker. Ik wil ook net commentaar delen ten opzichte van die item. Mr. Speaker, ik wil net allemaal wat betrokken was in die samenstelling van die draft IDP 2020-2021 bedank. Dit het baie energie en tyd gevat en was baie energie en tyd ingesit om hierdie plan saam te stel. Wat bevat ons visie, missie en die kern woordsaamheid ook die kern aspekte en wat uitgesit word in die National Development Plan se oogmerk. Mr. Speaker, die IDP is nie 'n nice to have, maar is 'n plan om die lewens van ons gemeenskap binne die GRDM te verbeter, te verander en 'n beter lewe vir almal daar te skep of te bewerkstellig. Die distrik staan voor verskeie uitdagings. Die distrik staan voor, kan ek maar aankan? Kan hulle my hoor? Ja. Die distrik staan voor verskeie uitdagings en ook veral in ons landelike gebiede. En daarom is dit belangrik om die belange van die inwoners in die landelike gebiede verder te ondersteun in verskeie aspekte van hulle lewe, om armoede, werkloosheid en ook die sosiaal-maatskaplike omstandighede en probleme waarbinne hulle is te verbeter, en baie van die aspekte is wel opgeneem in die IDP. Die COVID-19 pandemie het baie skade berokken in ons samelewing en die tuinroete was nie immuun as gevolg van die negatiewe impak wat dit gehad het op ons gemeenskap binne die distrik. Besigheidsvlak, ekonomie se aktiwiteite was ook negatief beïnvloed. Speaker, daarom is dit nodig om slim te werk te gaan met ons finansies, as ook natuurlik ons begroting. Dan laastens, Mr. Speaker, ons mandaat laat geen verskil in opsigte van wat ons moet doen en wat ook in ons visie en missie uiteengesit is. Die Meyer in sy voorwoord verwys na die Council Resolution in 2019 to create a long-term strategy in the form of growth and development strategy. This will map out a 20-year development trajectory on key strategic themes that would stimulate and grow the district economy. Ons hoop dat baie van dit wat uitgewys was en opgeneem is in die IDP gestalte gaan kry en dat die finansiering van die IDP sal altyd 'n uitdaging wees, maar ook wanneer ons kyk na beleide wat finansiële impak het op ons begroting. Maar ten minste het ons 'n plan om aan te werk en ons is baie trots op ons amptenare en ook die politici wat 'n bydraende rol gespeel het om 'n sukses te maak van die plan. En ons hoop na die goedkeuring van die IDP sal ons alle ywer insit en dit koppel aan ons timelines en implementeringsplan. Baie dankie, Mr. Speaker.
Baie dankie, Raadslid Harris. Moet ons, should we get an interpretation of a shortened version of an interpretation of what Councillor Harris has said? To our colleagues that do not understand fully Afrikaans, please. Dat is nou eers, maar is dan vandag Woensdag, so. Daar is nog 2 dae vir Engels oor. Thank you.
Somlomo enkosi. Somlomo ndifuna nje ukubulela abaqulunqi be-IDP ngomsebenzi omhle abawenzileyo kuba kakade uqulunqa i-IDP ayondlwane yanetha kodwa ke benzile kangangoko abanakho bawenza umsebenzi wabo omhle endifuna ukubulela. Ndiyafuna nje kodwa ke ukuthi njengoba sisithili sinelinge elikhulu ukubana sidlala indima yethu enkulu eluntwini luphela ngokwe-IDP nangemali inkxaso ekhoyo ethi yadandalaliswa kwi-IDP nayo sakuyisebenzisa ngendlela efanelekileyo. Nangona kunjalo ke sikwazile ke phantsi kwenzima zikabhubhane we-COVID-19 sakwazi ukuba senze oko sinako kufuneka ekubeni ba sisebenzele uluntu lwethu. Naxa kunjalo ke sibhinqele phezulu umithwalo yethu saqinisekisa ukuba i-IDP yethu iba yeyona isezingeni eliphezulu. Ndiyafuna nje nokuthi ke kwintetho kaSodolophu obekekileyo kwi-IDP yakhe uyicacisile injongo nendlela ke umasipala awuthi ke abheke phambili ngayo. Ndiyabulela.
Enkosi. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
Baie dankie, Speaker. I just want to thank the MM for reassuring Councillor De Vries and all the other councillors of their valued input regarding this process. En ek wil vir Councillor Harris baie dankie sê vir sy deurdagte bydra tot vandag se planne. En dan laat ons maar aan die burgemeester oor om die proses klaar te maak. Dankie.
Thank you. Minister Executive Meyer, thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I think everybody's in the mood for Afrikaans. Miskien ek ook dan maar Afrikaans praat. Now, Mr. Speaker, I just want to propose with all the inputs noted and in terms of the promises that we will get a fair share before it goes out, I'd hereby like to propose the item.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Good. I would like to second the proposal by the Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lambert-Jean. Thank you. We then move to the next item, and that is our annual report for 2019-2020. And I must say, You know, this weekend was spent reading, and mostly reading Garden Route Agenda. And I would like to reaffirm what our municipal manager, and to you, that you definitely, and everybody in there that played a role in the development thereof. But let me first ask Dr. Potgieter, Dr. Potgieter, welcome to our meeting. And I now give you an opportunity to make an input on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present our report. There's a couple of issues that we would like to highlight. First of all, as you all know, that the APAC is formed as part of Section 166 of the MFMA, so therefore we are a constituted body of the municipality and also oversight committee of council. Just the composition of the audit committee for the past year. It has been myself as the independent member and chairperson. Then we've had Advocate Block, Ms. Mabula Bula and Mr. Steenekamp as independent members of the committee. You will also find the dates that we actually met throughout the year. And then there's a summary of the activities that we carried out according to our functions of the charter that you can peruse there. Then I would like to highlight point 5 of our report, which is on the 2019-2020 regulatory audit. Just to note that we have noted that for the past 3 years, the municipality has maintained the outcome of the as unqualified with findings. And although we acknowledge this year's audit outcome is a result of an old finding that has already been addressed by the municipality. So we commend the municipality for implementing and monitoring all the recommendations and commitments made to address significant prior year audit findings, which has resulted in an improvement in the area of financial and performance management. So we would like to thank the municipality on that. However, the municipality should continue to monitor corrective actions implemented to address instances of non-compliance identified during the audit in order to prevent regression in the audit outcome. So we also recommend then that management should develop an audit improvement plan in order to ensure that they achieve a clean audit opinion for the future. Then on assurance providers, we note with much gladness that senior management has had an improvement upwards, as well as internal audit, as well as municipal council, and we would like to congratulate council and senior management for the improvement as noticed by the Auditor General. We also recommend that the emerging risk identified in the management report should be included in an OPCAR development developed by the municipality. And this should include actions to ensure that the appropriate processes are followed. Speaker, you will know that every year we do that from the municipality side, where we then look at all the COMAPs that was identified by the AG, and then on our committee meetings, we discussed the implementation of these specific COMAPs to ensure that they are all then being dealt with by the end of the financial year. One issue that we would like to maybe please highlight in our report is we want to congratulate our internal audit unit with a positive outcome of the external quality assurance review that was conducted. This is a external quality assurance review that is done every 5 years for the internal audit of a municipality, and we received really good outcome of that. So we would like to congratulate them. And I think this department is then reaching its own maturity levels, evident in the reliance that the AG has placed on the internal audit reports during the external audit. We are very comfortable with the work of internal audit, and although we sit with a very small team, I think the reliance that the AG is placing on our internal audit reports is a feather in the cap for the district municipality. Speaker, on 5.3 on the status of drivers of internal controls, we see HR management has also improved, which is really good for us. However, we see that there's on compliance monitoring, the AG has also identified that there is some intervention needed. as well as the matter of concern is the regular reporting of the municipality. So the assessment of the implementation of drivers of internal control was based on significant deficiencies identified during the audit of the financial statements, the annual performance report, and the compliance of legislation. So there were significant deficiencies that occurred when internal controls do not exist. And some that we just want to highlight there is regular reporting, is the preparation of regular, accurate, and complete financial and performance reports. So although progress was made on implementing preventative or detective controls, more improvement is required on this, as it has not been sustained throughout the year. And then on compliance monitoring, the review and monitor compliance with applicable legislation. So internal controls are not in place there, or they were not properly designed, or they were not implemented to the fullest. And we think there's something that the council and the management should take note of. Just on the audit opinion, Speaker, in the annual financial statements, we commend the municipalities for submitting financial statements that were free of material misstatements. I think the MM also made a note of that. I think that is really very commendable. And then on the performance information, the reported performance information for bulk infrastructure coordination is useful and reliable in accordance with the applicable criteria as developed from the performance management framework. Then something that we need to take note of, or that we would like council to take note of, is the compliance with legislation. So we remember that is from last year, and although management has attempted to dispute the matter, the Impact Chair and myself also had a meeting with AG, with the MM, in this regard, and there was some very hard words that was being said to the AG. So we have also now come to the point where we feel that this issue will not be a repeat finding the next year. However, council will still see some irregular expenditure coming through as a result of this. But we are very comfortable that management has actually implemented what they said they would last year. And this is really a technical issue of AG that resulted in this. So although we do not wish to restate all the pertinent issues, there are a few highlights. We are concerned on the following highlights of the AG's document. So the first one is the restating of the corresponding figures. I think that is just something that we can go and read on. Also the material impairments. The impairment allowance amounted to 33.295 million, which has grown significantly from 2019. And then also just the material impairment. Then, Speaker, I think on unauthorized expenditure, the municipality has incurred unauthorized expenditure just over 34 million, as the approved budget for vote 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 6 has been exceeded. So there's just an impairment loss not anticipated during the budget process of 48 million. And then the COVID expenditure per department was slightly different from the expected budget period. On performance management, Speaker, we would like to highlight the following KPIs that were not met. We've had a discussion regarding these items, and I think it is something that council also need to take note of. The bulk infrastructure coordination, the development and submission of a maintenance management plan that was due by the 31st of March. So council need to take note that this plan was developed but not submitted to council in time. Also, the growing of an inclusive district economy, there were 4 KPIs that weren't met. So although the draft growth and development strategy is in place, the consultation process had to be postponed due to COVID-19 and will hopefully serve at council now in March. Then also there's the development of an investment prospectus, and that needs to be submitted by June 2020. And this investment prospectus was then only submitted to council on the 22nd of January, so we missed the deadline on that one. Then I think important is the revision of the EPWP policy that was supposed to be submitted to council by the March 2020. And a protocol agreement was not signed in time, which will be dealt with in the 2021 financial year in order to complete. I think that's something that council need to consider. And then also, I think a very important one that has far-reaching consequences for all municipalities in our area is the job creation through the construction operation of the regional landfill facility. So construction has not yet proceeded on the regional wasteful management facility due to financial difficulties on the side of the private partner, Eden Waste Management Proprietary Limited. We are also proposing then that council or management look at this again in detail and find out exactly what there is legally that can be done in this regard. Speaker, then there's just a short financial position overview at the different year ends that council can peruse for their own. Then just on irregular expenditure, there is two things that we would like to highlight. So there are no new regular expenditure transactions identified during the year under review. However, there are only transactions from an ongoing tenders declared as irregular. That was something I referred to earlier. So our recommendation from APAC is then that council refer these matters to impact for further consideration to ensure that management develops a robust internal control improvement plan for supply chain management to address the root causes of these material deficiencies within supply chain management. And then, Chair, there's something that is, Speaker, there is still something that is in our books, which is the councillor's arrear consumer accounts. There's then a councillor that has a arrear account outstanding for more than 19 days within the books of the municipality. And there has been certain arrangements made with the councillor. I think at this stage, if you look at it financially, it would mean that the agreed amount is marginal, and on calculation, it should approximately take 18 years for the debt to be cleared. So it doesn't look good in the face of the financial statements, and we recommend that council refer the matter to APAC for further consideration in this regard. Finally, councillors, we want to congratulate the municipal manager and staff with the positive outcome of the AG report. And we want to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of all staff in the municipality and the leadership of Mr. Strato. Thank you very much, Speaker. I think we can take questions if you would like us to.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adele Potgieter. Council's thanks also to you and for the short presentation that you've just made. I want discussions and inputs on the report itself as well. If you need clarity on any information that has been shared by Dr. Potgieter, let's do it. But I would like to, I don't want to inhibit your participation in question and answering session of what Dr. Potgieter has just presented to you. You've read the reports. You've also read subsequently to the oversight report, which I've heard certain plan, one plan that also needs to be developed further. So I don't know, MM, and I need your guidance here. Is it possible that we can deal with the annual report as well as the oversight report after immediately after consideration of the annual report, so that we have one resolution? We can adopt the annual report, but then the oversight, we deal with it almost at the same time, because the oversight report must be considered with the annual report. And that's what we're doing now.
Speaker, you're correct. In fact, that's how it's supposed to be done. We've now received the overall of the whole annual report, which is the annual report, the financial statements, the audit opinion, the audit committee report. Now we can receive the oversight report. Then we can then finish the whole year procedures. Then we can deal with the last item.
Thank you. Thank you, Emin. What I'm now going to do is that before any further discussion taking place, Councillor Lechaba, that is the process that we agreed upon. So I'll now allow you, and with thanks and appreciation, even before you start, You and your team did excellent work under extreme pressure. And I don't know how you did that, because I was still reading the annual report, and then all of a sudden, zip, here comes the report from Impact. I mean, within minutes, or I don't know how long, how you drafted that report in such a quick time after your meeting yesterday. So congratulations, and thank you so much for all the effort that you and your team has put into this whole matter. So Dr. Potgieter, we allow Councillor Chaba an opportunity, and then I'll open the floor for discussions, questions, and input. If that's fine with Council, can we do it that way?
We support, Speaker.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Chaba.
Thank you.
Pragtig soos altyd. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, first I'd like to greetings to the Honorable Councillors, greetings to the administration, and greetings to the public at large of the Garden Route District. I hereby present the oversight report on the annual report for 2019 to 2020 financial year of the Garden Route District Municipality as required by legislation, and submit recommendation to Council for consideration. I present this report on behalf of the Committee of MPAC. The background, it's about, in terms of Section 129 of the Local Government Municipal Finance Management Act of 2005, the Council must adopt an oversight report of the municipality, which it must include comments on the annual report, and the MPAC committee must be able, is tasked with the responsibility to give an oversight report. And then if you move into the report, we ask the purpose of the annual report. It is presented that the annual report is to provide a record of the activities of the municipalities, is to provide a report on the performance against the budget, and is to promote accountability to the local community for the decisions that were made under the year of review. And also in the report, it tells about the responsibilities and the functions of the MPAC committee, is to consider and evaluate the annual report as tabled to Council, and thereafter is to make recommendation to Council in this regard, is to compile an oversight report and table in Council and make recommendation of those Council considerations. And that is what we are doing today. The composition of the committee is myself, Councillor Lichaba, Chairperson, Councillor B. Van Wyk, Councillor Rousseau, Councillor Mangaliso, and Councillor Harris, and Councillor Strubel, and Councillor Adnik. So it's quite a fully represented committee of the Council. And also in terms of attendance, there is an attendance of our meetings. The summary and the discussions of this report. In 2019 to 2020, the annual report was advertised for public inputs and comments as explained above, and no comments, Honorable Speaker, were received from the public. And I think from going forward, it is very crucial that as MPAC, in terms of participation with the communities, we will have to enhance so that because for us, to having no comments is either it portrays two things, is either we are incredibly good, or it's either people do not understand our mandate. And therefore, going forward, we like to intensify so that we engage with our public. The executive mayor and the chairperson as myself, we had some radio interviews to encourage the public and in terms of the publishing of the annual report, and so that they can make comments. So we are really trying very hard in this difficult time of COVID that to ensure that the public does participate in this annual report brief. MPAC, first we would like as a committee, we would like to congratulate the administration for maintaining unqualified audit outcome given the pandemic, the challenges that we were facing in this critical time and preparing this audit, the institution had to work hard with the skeleton staff. We also noted a vast improvement on the content of the audit report due to drastic reduction in the material matters affecting the audit report. So there is only one material finding that will be discussed further in this report. Therefore, as a committee, we really congratulate the Mr. Stratu, or the institution in administration led by Mr. Stratu, for the excellent work and quality of work that have been shown, and the dedication, because we were really working under very strenuous time, and also to maintain the unqualified audit, especially when we find it ourselves that they were, in terms of the AG, they were worried a lot in this year of the COVID-19 funds, and the audit, the AG went through our books and there was nothing untoward toward that. So we really congratulate the administration on that behalf. The committee we have met to discuss this document of the annual report so that we can conclude our oversight report. And in that, Honorable Speaker, we had some challenges with the AG, as the audit committee chair has said, that we found ourselves by the 25th March, it is the only time that we got the audit, the AG report to be signed. So that, because for us to do our work, we had to be able to get a signed off audit report from the AG. And therefore, we really it's a concern for us going forward, but I'm sure with the administration and ourselves, we will have a bit of engagement, because it's critical for the assurance bodies to work together, and so that we can meet the deadlines. In our, in terms of our the previous MPEG recommendations, and the committee, when we went through the previous resolution, and to establish whether council and management has implemented them, and we find that as the committee was satisfied that council and administration in the previous recommendation, they were implemented, and we commend management for the hard work, because each and every the recommendation we had, they were all completed. And in terms of the current one, we went through the current annual report, and we also saw some improvement. And first we saw in the district economy, we looked in the district economy, the impact of a COVID-19 is continuing to have a devastating impact to the economy, as we all know, and what the devastation has caused in terms of job loss as a result of it, and also in terms of our people have been, in fact, our margin of poverty have went truly down, and the health-related issues, they were paramount in this time. The committee appreciated the initiative by the council to establish a regional food bank, which should alleviate poverty to some extent. The committee urges council to ensure that they play their oversight role in this initiative. We need to ensure that the beneficiary of the initiative are the ones that benefit. There should be a transparent criteria that is used to identify those that this project is initiated for, and the access to the food bank is key, and council to ensure that this initiative is made known to public and is also accessible to all our citizens. The pandemic did not only affect individual household income, but it had a devastating impact on the business as well. Some business had to shut down, and reducing of staff and profit margins. We are pleased to know that there is the economic recovery plan. However, we want to caution that the plan should not only focus on well-established businesses sector, but also consider the informal business sector and the township economy. Agriculture being one of the critical sectors, it should be key of this plan, This sector to be diversified and cater for small-scale Black farming communities. The recovery plan should address these matters and among other matters. We will also, as a committee, would like to encourage the municipality to continue to contribute to the work of the opportunities through the EPWP, the internships and the learnership program. We are really, because we know that this EPWP projects and the learnerships, they do give a temporary relief, but they have a significant contribution in terms of acceleration poverty. Our other area that we had our discussion is the regional landfill site. As we have said, and also the audit committee chair, that we are really worried that because at this moment in time, we still not have started in terms of the infrastructural or the running of this P, which is a very critical thing, because what we do not want to find ourselves when Petro SA, who is assisting us at the moment, tells us that they will be closing off and then we have nowhere to go. So we urge the municipality, the council and the management to please that this process of the regional landfill site, it has to be accelerated. And also the partnership, this P partnership, this P partnership, it has to be reviewed because we do not want to find ourselves again in the same space that we have found it ourselves. But in the content of the landfill site, we have made a recommendation to council that for us to make sure that we must still ultimately, we recommend that the PP partner be held to account on this project. And also the administration has given us an assurance that there will be a consultant who will be appointed so that they look through the process, and those that have found not to have done what they needed to be done, and then there will be a process of that. Then also we looked at the filling of senior manager position. I'm sure you can see there in front, we are saying we commend the management for ensuring that there are no vacant position in the senior management position. And we also, with the effort of appointing females in the management position, is also commended. The management is, however, encouraged by the committee to further consider female applicants in the senior management position. This level is still male dominant. So we really urge that. We also looked at the public participation. We know that we are in the pandemic time, very critical time. Unfortunately, we cannot do other things, but we are urging administration and council to look at various innovative ways that to ensure that the public process is not compromised, and in fact we maximize in terms of reaching out and doing accountability work, the IDP and so forth, and it must reach each and every community in our district. And therefore we urge, let us look at new ways of doing things. We looked at also in the public transport system. The committee is concerned about the lack of public transport system that links different towns within the region, going from Hexaqua to Canaland, Pito, and Mosa Bay, and so forth. That the council should relook at alternative public transport system to ensure that there is a connectivity between the towns. It might be that the council facilitate this process with other relevant stakeholders, but we say that this function is very critical in terms of the economy revival. So therefore we urge council to look at this matter so that we are able to assist in this process. We also looked at the sterling work that has been done in terms of the joint district approach, the initiative that was utilized by the Garden Route district to provide assistance to municipalities within the districts, especially those that are experiencing capacity constraint. we really commend the administration with this sterling work. And therefore we see it an opportunity that in terms of the performance management, the internal audit, and well as the risk management, that perhaps we form a big body that this unit can service and do a shared service right around the district to assist municipalities, all the B municipalities, and also to assist in terms of those municipalities that have capacity constraint and resources. And therefore we also commend there, and we are reaffirming this approach because we have also seen the confidence that the AG has in terms of the capacity that we have in the district, in the internal audit unit. And therefore, because of that, it gives us more, we're giving more affirming to say that we have the capacity at our disposal. Let us utilize it and assist all other municipalities. In terms of AG report, the committee has reviewed the report of the Audit General, and we take note of the improved audit outcome, and the municipality maintained its unqualified audit report with 1 material findings. We had the same outcome in the previous year with 4 material matters. So there is a much greater improvement, and we commend this work. And in terms of the material findings, as it was alluded by the Audit Committee Chairperson, the composition of bid adjudication committee, and also other matters of material impairment and capital assets and the unauthorized expenditure. So all those things, it was the outcomes of the Auditor General. But really, honestly, the work of the administration in terms of looking after the administration books, it looks very good for us. And therefore, it's just we need to continue to improve in terms of just putting controls in place. One area we also looked at is the awards to close family members. When the committee reviewed the set of annual financial statement, we noted that there were awards made to entities with close family members that are working for the state. The committee understands that such act is not prohibited by legislation, but the disclosure is required. Hence the note in the annual financial statement. The risk perspective about this is that the committee would like to recommend that management implement additional controls to ensure that this does not give unfair advantage when the close family member is an employee of the Garden Route District Municipality. The employee who is a close family member of a respective bidder should not be involved in any procurement process relating to that specific bidder. Further to that, no award should be made to any bidder who is in the service of the state. The municipality does not have a system currently that confirms whether the declaration by the bidders are correct or not. And the Office of the Auditor General, as the only state auditor, should have a database of the state employees. Hence, then we urge that the management should engage with the AG office for the purpose of the requesting access to such database, so that we can be able to allow the administration to identify misrepresentation on the disclosure. Other matters discussed, we looked at the audit action plan to address the above finding. Management must develop an action audit plan. The progress on this plan should be closely monitored and reported to MPAC and Audit Committee. We also looked at the deviation from supply chain management process, and we also commend management because we have seen a huge reduction from 13 million to 6 million. And that it's a good a way to go. And we urge management to continue strengthening controls in this regard. On the 29th of March 2021, the committee met with the chairperson of the audit committee, giving us the audit committee outcomes, and the committee commenced the work of this committee and we understand the linkage between the two committees. We are pleased to get an assurance that the financial position of the municipality is still sound. We share the same sentiment to share by the audit committee on the matters relating to the audit reports and the financial position of this institution. The audit committee in their report referred two matters to MPAC for investigation. That is the investigation of the irregular expenditure, as well as the matter relating to areas by one of Garden Route District Municipality Council. We urge Council that you will have to pronounce on these two matters. As I conclude, I therefore present recommendations from the committee to Council. Number one, that Council, after having fully considered the annual report of the municipality and representation thereon, adopt the oversight report and the 2019-2020 annual report without reservations. Number two, that the Council, that the accounting officer, in accordance with Section 21A of the Municipal System Act, make the oversight report public within 7 days of its adoption. Number three, that the accounting officer submit the oversight report to the provincial legislature within 7 days. Number four, that the accounting officer develops action plans to address issues raised in the audit general report and monitors the progress. Number five, that the audit action plan progress be presented to audit committee and to MPAC quarterly. Number six, that Council consider the recommendation of the audit committee in relation to the Council that is in areas. Number seven, that Council refer irregular expenditure to MPAC for investigation. Number eight, to the implementation of the above recommendation and the bold proposed action in the body of this report. I therefore present the oversight report to Council. In conclusion, I would like and wish to thank the MPAC members, the management, and the Council for their support in ensuring that the work of this committee is not hindered. I therefore present to Council the oversight report of MPAC. I thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
I think as council, we are truly blessed with such gifted ladies. And isn't it just wonderful not to see old men on the screen, and we see beautiful Dr. Adele Potgieter, beautiful Councillor Lechaba, and they're not just pretty. They are gifted, and we are truly blessed to have them with us. We've received the input from the chairperson of APAC. We've received the input from our chairperson of MPAC. So the ladies packed a heavy punch. You've got it. So, Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. And thank you very much to the two ladies for the reports. Speaker, we have already addressed both committees as management on all the matters that have been raised, those that need to be contained in action plans, those that need to be in the OPCA and so on. And we have started planning to address those matters. We are quite happy that, as the two ladies have noted, there are no material findings for this municipality, except for the one which we call, it's actually academic, and it's, in fact, there isn't even a recommendation from the AG as to what we must do, because they've noted that we've already dealt with it. So even when we refer the other matters to the MPAC, the irregular expenditure, there is nothing much that will be done because we've already disclosed those expenditures but we will continue, as the chairperson of the audit committee noted, in terms of process. When those expenditures become available, we'll just take them through the normal processes for the MPEC to opine on them. Speaker, we have noted the specific issue regarding a councillor in arrears. I have advised the executive mayor that as things stand, there is an agreement between this council and that councillor, and therefore it would be premature for council to pronounce now. We'll then have to go revisit the agreement that is there in line with what the audit committee has said and report to council again, and then we'll be able to take a specific resolution on what to do. I would like to thank the chairpersons for their inputs. We, as I said, are quite a very happy management team for what we have done, and we're very happy and thankful to them for their support. We will indeed do everything that they have proposed in terms of our normal planning processes. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very, apologies. Thank you very much. Sorry, MM. Sorry, Council. One outstanding issue from the Speaker's office on a lighter note, MM. The Speaker's office, the Speaker, has got the legal obligation that the code of conduct is being adhered to. The Speaker wants to be informed if a councillor is 90 days in arrears. That shouldn't happen. The Speaker should have, if that is exactly correct, the Speaker would have or should have written to that councillor to say, pay up, Papa, or Sissy, whoever you are. We cannot have that. We cannot have that. But I'm being serious, but it's on a lighter note. The Speaker would like to be informed of that person. Or I'll ask some of that person just to stand up and to show his or her face. That will also work for me. But I'm not going to do that. But thank you so much. You've got input from both chairpersons. Mr. Mayor, would you like to also address us, please, on this issue? And after that, I'll ask if there's no other comments and input for a proposal and a seconder. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to echo your sentiments. The two women are really making us proud. I want to say thank you to Dr. Potgieter and her team, and to Councillor Lichaba and her team. Mr. Speaker, normally on an annual basis, I do what is called district address. I think I don't need a script. I'm going to take both reports because that was the state of the district. And I would so like to propose that we accept the state of the district.
Thank you. I've noted Alderman van der Hoeven. Please, Alderman van der Hoeven, proceed.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity. First of all, Speaker, let me just, everybody was thanking everyone. I don't think any other input is needed. I just also want to just thank Councillor Lichaba for excellent leadership. And of course, the MM. Everything is as a result of your leadership. I cannot understand if you go to the performance evaluation, I just cannot understand that that they punished you with 1%.
There should have been 110.
Mr. Speaker, may I raise a point of order?
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. I take it that's a seconder. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And again, from council side and from the chair side, thank you very much for everybody, for everyone's contributions. I know it's a team effort. It's not only one man show, one lady show, but life is like a movie. There's a role for each and every actor to play in. And if you miss that actor, the movie is incomplete. So to all the actors, you presented us with a fantastic, you receive an Oscar. Mr. Menze, there goes another Oscar. to you and your team. But thank you. That concludes those two items then. Thank you, Dr. Potgieter. You may be excused if you want to leave. We don't work with lunch hours, but it's almost 1 o'clock, so perhaps you would like to go and enjoy your lunch. We are now at the performance assessment. Can I then request, as per the request of our senior executive managers, to be recused from this item, that we can deal with this item as well. Thank you, Chief Whip.
I just want to bring it to your attention, Speaker. The catering lady asked when lunch is. So can I suggest that after we deal with this item, that the managers can somewhere join us there for lunch as well? Is that would that be an appropriate suggestion?
That was my intention. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Whip. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. You've got the report in front of you. You've read through it. You've seen who the panel was that considered it. Municipal manager from other city and town. So you've seen the panel. Thank you to our performance manager. I don't know if that's the correct designation, our performance manager. But thank you for your role that you've also played in this whole issue of the evaluation of the performance management. And I wish, no, you will still be here. When the new council is elected, that you also present them with your presentation on how you should interpret performance management and how it works. I still remember it to this day. It's almost 3 years ago. And I think it was in the wilderness. But yes, thank you. You've got the report here. Any input or comment that you would like to make? Mr. Mayor, then if no input or comment, Mr. Mayor, I'll leave it up to you then.
I was going to say I'll conclude, but I think it's going once, twice. Then, Mr. Speaker, there will always be, because I had a discussion with the municipal manager, and although we've dealt with the audit outcomes, etc., I totally have a different what's it called, view when it comes to the AG's reports, etc. All I know is that I'll never have a bribe with the AG. And Mr. Speaker, through all the challenges and the hard work, you know, and the politics that goes with it, we really need to applaud the officials. Although, Mr. Speaker, and as one has gone through the report, there is still some work to be done. And I truly believe that we will deal with those matters going forward, because some of these matters are avoidable, and we will deal with the matters which we can avoid. But I would then go with the report as it is in front of us. Thank you. I recommend it.
Thank you. There's a proposal. Can we get a seconder? Councillor Spies, Chief Whip. Can I just share with the colleagues here at our last Speakers Forum meeting of the Western Cape, and what we did at the Speakers Forum, we also invited the impact chairperson of the province, and we decided that we request further investigation into the establishment of an ombudsman for the Auditor General, because we know we get stuck and we get nowhere. Create an ombudsman, a referee, and let that person decide. So I share it with you, Mr. Mayor. We will not leave it here. It's not our foe, but we believe in fairness. And sometimes we feel we're being treated unfairly You cannot correct. We've corrected what was wrong, and now what we've corrected is still wrong. I don't understand that. But thank you. The performance assessment is part of this. I take it that the same proposal and second intention was that we approve of it. Thank you, councillors. I now invite our executive mayor, our elder ladies and aldermen and councillors and our precious staff for a light lunch. Thank you. I'll give you 40 minutes. 40 minutes?
About us?
What about you?
What about us at home?
Have you got transport for us?
You must not chew on those glasses.
I'll send the Mr. Delivery to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Bye.
You come back at 22. I'm very ek is baie vrygewig vandag, vry en gewig. So I'll give you 45 minutes. So I'm not 35 minutes. Thank you. 35. Thank you. And 35 means 35. So we start at 1:45. Sharp. Sharp. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you. Just go down.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Ja, lebih pot.
Wait, Sue, ek sien julle almal staan so. Thank you.
Is the aircon still on? Is the aircon on and off? No. Ek is jammer kan ek my baadjie neem. Want dit is warm hier bo. Hier stuur jy trek nie.
We're almost there, Speaker. We're almost there.
Yep. I saw Scalps is also loving beans. Manhattan beans. Would you like some beans? Beans. I love it. Oh, colorful. We move to under that one. Okay. Now we start with this 12.1. Your beans. Sudamiki. Five minutes is now 34. 1 minute to go. Yeah. I get to do 35 minutes.
Speaker.
Matuani!
Have you started the meeting back?
I'm glad you're back, Tati Matuani.
Okay, please up your voice when you have to start because I hear you. You're talking very soft.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The Sergeant at Arms has spoken. Let's proceed. Thank you so much for the beautiful lunch that was served. We appreciate that. Can we then move to item 12.1? That's appointments, service exits, and labor relations information for January 2021. We find it from page 60 to 68. Any input or comment? If none, thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
I would like to propose that we accept this report. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Seconder.
I second it, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next report is then A1. It's report on the attendance of council, committee meetings and workshops for the period 1 October 2020 until 28 February 2021. I take it that the various chief whips and the whips have studied this report and make sure that in future we reduce the numbers of absent without apology. I'll really appreciate that. Thank you, Alderlady Kritzinger.
Yes, Chief Speaker, I would just like to mention, I read somewhere in the report that it says that there's no financial implications regarding this report, but I want to differ with this because if there are no quorums, for instance, last month the Property Section 80 Committee did not have a quorum. It actually cost council a lot of money to have officials sitting around waiting for quorums and politicians don't pitch for meetings. So that's actually unacceptable, and maybe we should start looking at the costs involved when there are no quorums because of politicians and make a ruling on that, because it's unacceptable. We can't have officials sitting around costing us quite a lot of money, and they could have been productive in another way or somewhere else instead of sitting here waiting for us to sort of pitch. So that's just my input on that. Thank you so much, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderlady Kritzinger. I wanted also to say that I'm going to present it to the governance meeting. I'll henceforth write a letter from the Office of the Speaker to each and every councillor that absents him or herself without apology. Just to remind them that, we are still busy with the policy, but once it becomes a bylaw, the fine is 1,000 bucks for every time that you miss a meeting without apology. I didn't want to implement the 1,000 rand fine for every meeting that was missed without apology. But once it becomes a bylaw, then the Speaker would be obliged to do that. Until such time as it becomes a bylaw, I will just write a letter as a reminder, and I'll CC the Chief Whip of that specific councillor. But thank you for that report. Can we take note of it with the addition that's our concern that's raised?
Noted, Speaker.
Speaker, my hand is up.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Please proceed.
Long gone, Speaker. I think you must just check that hands. Speaker number 1, on page 75, the 10th of February, Financial Services Committee. There's not an indication, there's nothing whether people were absent or whether they were present or they were absent without leave. Can we just get an indication what is happening there? Surely if there wasn't a meeting, then that shouldn't have been there. But yeah, that is the one thing that I want to raise. The second issue is one of our councillors, Councillor Klasie Windvogel, has got a standing doctor certificate. He had a stroke. We could have taken him off, but we are a caring organization. We don't take people off just because he's incapacitated for quite a while, and we bear with that. Surely, Speaker, can't we look at that and make sure that we don't mark him as absent without leave while there's while there's a situation that deprive him from attending a council meeting? Yeah, I don't want to labor this issue further.
Thank you very much, Alderman. Can I please ask the Secretariat to assist me with the hands? Because I at times find it difficult to see if there's any hand there. I'll appreciate that. If you can assist me, please, as per usual, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Alderman van der Hoeven.
Yeah, perhaps just lastly, Speaker, it's your authority to take action against any councillor and who are absent without leave for 3 consecutive meetings, and we accept that, and we will not cover for such a councillor. But I think the best is bring this to the governance committee meeting.
Thank you very much, Alderman. Can we then note this report?
Noted,
And
Speaker.
just the corrections that's to be made? Please, thank you. Thank you. Then we move to C2. That is the report on the draft service delivery and budget implementation plan. Pages 811 to 822. Oh, thank you, Advocate. I must A2, that's a report on the Council Resolution Register for the months November 2020 until January 2021. My apologies. Thank you, Advocate. Pages 79 to 88. This was implemented after one of our strategic sessions, and it enhances the oversight role of Council. Can we take note of that with thanks for the
No.
progress report?
Noted, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Speaker,
Councillor Matiwani.
thank you very much. Speaker, as the African National Congress, we want to thank the MM and his staff by ensuring that they're executing the resolution, this council that we're in. They're ensuring that all the time there's no outstanding matters. By that, we're saying to him and his staff, enkosi kakhulu, by ensuring that this organization is in good hands, in his hands. Thank you very much. We want to applaud the municipal manager and his staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Matiwani. Honorable person.
Mr. Speaker, when are they applauding me?
Our executive mayor. Yeah, and there's one thing, it's not criticism, I see in some of our reports, I don't know if it's part of the process plans or whatever the case may be, they refer to the mayor. And there's a huge difference between the mayor and executive mayor in terms of legislation. And I request that we please correct that we refer to the executive mayor, not to the mayor.
Can I just quickly come in here, Speaker?
Yes, please, Alderman.
On a lighter note, Speaker, we will never applaud or thank the mayor because he's opposition, and what we do is we try to find reasons to nail him and his party. But Speaker, when the administration does something good, we need to recognize that. And this municipality is well managed and well organized and well run by a good administration. Thank you, Mayor. And Mayor, don't ask us to give you any, what do you call
I'm
it?
gonna nail you at the ballot box.
We prefer to be the hammer than the nail.
Sorry for interrupting, Speaker. I keep quiet in future.
Thank you. Am I hearing Councillor Scarcity there in the background?
Ja, ek is net jammer ek is nie daar om dit daar te doen nie. Is moeilik van die kant af, Speaker.
Roep die lang arm van die gereg. Thank you. Can we then move to the next item? That is the BIP, am I correct? Yeah, thank you, MM. It's one of your reports.
Yes, Speaker, we are always required when we are presenting the draft planning documents for the year to also prepare a draft STP. It's not a legislative requirement, but it's a good practice document for the Western Cape. And today we are presenting this as a guide. It will be finalized when the executive mayor, 14 days after the approval of the budget, has then signed this. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, MM. I see you mentioned 14 days. I added this 30 days, but it's 14 after the approval of the budget. So I don't know. Let's bet on it later on. No, but yes, Mayor, while I'm on the floor, I would just like to say we're very sorry we deferred the performance assessment report to the next council meeting. We first want to deliberate on it a bit further. No, I'm just joking. Thank you so much. It's unanimous. And what was said in your absence was that only we've got the highest appreciation of the professional standard and the exceptional commitment and the hard work that you put in to make us all proud. And that there was no other negative sentiments being raised. But as it must come. Thank you. Thank you. We are then on the deviation report. D1, Implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of February 2021 to 28th February 2021, pages 823 to 828. Any input or comments on this report?
Speaker, my hand is up.
Under Alderman van der Werven, please proceed.
Once again, I hate to give to applaud what is going on here, but we've got no choice. We are at 40,000 rand per month. I don't think it can be better. I just want to check whether there's a conspiracy between the roads and the MM's office, because the previous month the roads department, the MM's office exceeded about 30,000 rand, and this time it's the roads department. But the fact that it's 30,000 rand, I mean, it's nothing. So we oversee that. We will overlook that, and I don't think they could have punished the MM with 1% because of this.
Thank you. I think there's a 13th check on its way. Sounds like it. Thank you, Rihanna. 30. Councillor Spies, thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Just for Councillor van der Werven, it's a conspiracy of good governance.
Thank you.
Speaker, I also want to thank the MM. I see he made a deviation in the camera angle. Now that I'm gone, my head is not in front of the mayor anymore.
Thank you. Is that a seconder? We've had it seconded. I took it that it's seconded by Alderman van der Werven. Thank you. Can we then move to E1? It's a report that makes us see nightmares and sleepless nights, and doesn't rest well within one's skin. Extremely concerning, worried when I read this report. Never knew that it was so serious. There's one line that from my side I couldn't understand. To say it says it's 100 times 6 for even people under the age of 12 years a day. How can that be allowed? But never mind. Not never mind. There we've got it. It's report E1 report regarding the human trafficking workshop. Any input and comment on this matter? Thank you, Elder Lady.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. We cannot emphasize enough what is the results and the seriousness of human trafficking. It's in the same as modern day slavery. More than 40 million people worldwide are enslaved in these days, and it's actually quite unbelievable to think that in these days that can still happen. In South Africa alone, we're looking at more or less 250,000 people that are victims of trafficking. South Africa is deemed to as a stop off for other African countries, which is serious and which is so scary to know that we've got such a big contribution to make to, or people in our country are making such a contribution to human trafficking. Females and males. It's not just females, that boys and girls of all ages are forced to engage in illegal sex, and they become victims of teen marriages or marriages for underage girls, and it's sickening to think of it. What that forced to organ removals, street begging, body parts are used for muchi, even for illegal adoptions. If you think of it, you cannot visualize this problem that we've got, and we have a responsibility to make our communities aware of the dangers and how to identify a victim, see and acknowledge the physical abuse to children or to any woman or man or that is in our communities, and what to do if we come across such a case. the recommendation on page 831 is very clear that this organization as Garden Route District Municipality, that we take note of the report, but also have further workshops that will take place in our communities to make them aware. And I beg of everyone that is present here today to make this a serious issue regarding taking it up to our communities and to make this aware, because it's not fair, and that anybody should be involved in human trafficking. So I want to recommend that we accept the recommendation on page 831. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady. I would like to give Councillor Chaba an opportunity. Thank you, Councillor Chaba.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I won't say much because Elder Lady has spoken before me. It's just, I think we can't even imagine we're in crisis, you know. And the sad part about this whole thing, it carries through to the most vulnerable of people. For instance, like now, perhaps the numbers, I think what we need to do also, as much as we are, the proposed is to go to do awareness, but we also equally so, I think this research has to come down and filter through to our district so that we can understand the crisis within our environment, so that we can conceptualize it to be much closer to us, and those gaps that needs to be closed to start in schools, but mostly is the vulnerable, because now they're going to use the job market. Let's say people are jobless. They're going to lure them to say you're coming for a job interview and all those things, you know, and children, not all of them being in school now, they are vulnerable. So these vulnerabilities that we need to identify, and what is going to be critical, I think, in our safety plan, perhaps we need to include, when we go to the strategy session, perhaps is to include this part of human trafficking, because really this is a crisis. We're in crisis, and absolutely I agree with Elder Lady. Workshop and awareness are critical for our people for awareness. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Councillor Chaba. Anybody else on this matter? Nope. But it is gender-based violence against women and children. And I think at times we lose sight of the children part. I'm not saying we concentrate too much on the women part, but this really is awful. But thank you. Proposed and adopted. Can we move on to E2 then? Report regarding the gender responsive budgeting workshop with Garden Route District Municipality, pages 874 to 882. Any input? Thank you, Elder Lady Katsina.
Yes, Speaker. This reporting is or this gender-based responsive budgeting workshop that was held basically takes hands with our gender mainstreaming workshops that we've had and what we're busy implementing in our organization. The emphasis on the emphasis being put onto the budget that should include both men and women, and on all levels when it comes to budget. It's not just to benefit some people. So I just want to say that we note this report, and thank you very much for this report, because it's very important. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Elder Lady Katsina. Councillor Chaba.
Thank you, Speaker. I just wanted to commend the management administration and also the leadership of council, because we are one of few council in South Africa who are taking the gender mainstreaming very serious up to our level. So when we go for workshop on the Western Cape, we have realized that in the Western Cape, particularly the Garden Route is doing extremely well when it comes to this. And therefore, we thank you for taking gender mainstreaming matters very serious. It's a way to go, and we are in the right direction. Thank you, Council, and thank you, administration, for this.
Thank you, Councillor Chava. We take note of the report with appreciation. Thanks. E3. Trix, daar kom dalk ook vir jou 'n 13e check as ek dit so kyk. But thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger.
Yes, Speaker, I must really, this is to me, it's so heartwarming, and it is actually a serious eye-opener to everybody that is present here today. This report is on no less than 27 policies of council, which have been workshopped and has been revised and has been brought to council on various occasions. And these policies serve as a critical role in the Garden Route District Municipality. Hard work by the department. Council has to take note of this, and please, I want to thank everyone in this department, Trix, Mr. MM, and under the leadership of our executive mayor, I must say thank you very much for this. It's really, it's heartwarming to think that such a lot of work has gone into this, and really this is not just, can't just go by as just something, just another report. So I just want to propose that we accept this report, and that we really applaud this department for what they've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Can I ask Elder Daisy? Ma'am, please proceed. Thank you, ma'am.
Goes Speaker. Speaker, as ANC, we are happy to know that our input are valued, as we noticed that they are incorporated in the policy. We so wish that the councillors from George Municipality can copy how things are done from us here. I thank you. I second you.
Kinete, man. Kinete. Let's give them a hand. Thank you. And I must say, as I ook wat lank hierdie pad ook gestap het, it's not only the quantum, but the quality of the policies. That's also something very special.
Am I not supposed to defend?
Please, Mr. Deputy Executive Mayor, Elder Lady Reiters. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Speaker. Now, I just want to second it, but it looked like I was voorgespring.
Thank you, Elder Lady. Deputy Executive Mayor. There's another citizen check on its way. E4, various ICT policies for council's approval, pages 889 to 976. Input or comments on this report? Elder Lady Kritzinger.
Yes, Chief. Thank you so much. All IT policies were reviewed and you know, sort of to keep us in touch with legislation, whatever is going on in our organization. I think in total it was something like 8, and I really want to urge council to please approve this hard work, which is recommendation on page 890. Thank you very much again to all involved, because it is really reflection on the excellent work that this department is doing, and without corporate services and the admin part of an organization, no organization can succeed in their goals and strategies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Lady Liana. Alderman van der Hoeven, thank you.
Speaker, I'm first going to let Councillor Tabiseng go.
Councillor Lichaba.
Thank you, Chief Whip. Thank you, Speaker. I just wanted to say that I think from the ICT side, we have to, at some point in the strategy session, but it's critical because at some point we need to shift. I don't know when are we going to do the shift, Honorable Speaker, but the fourth industrial is in our door. We've got to shift. Yes, our policies we accept, but they must have the fourth industrial revolution shift by now. Otherwise, we will be at the end of the queue. With our recovery plan, let the fourth industrial come forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lichaba. Alderman van der Hoeven.
No, I'm covered, Speaker. I think we can, in one batch, approve all the policies. Also the two policies, that the fleet management and the security policy.
Thank you. There's a suggestion. Can we adopt it as such? Elder Lady Kitzinger.
Yes, Chair, I would just like to bring your attention to E4, the second, there's two E4s, a typing error that
Yep.
is basically sneaked in, so to E5 and E6. Thank you so much.
Yes, we noted that and we corrected it. Thank you. Can we then move to F1? Our Executive Manager, Drive Africa's department, and his right-hand man, one of his right-hand men. Update report on the actions taken by the District COVID-19 Command Council to address the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes.
We've got the report on pages 1029 to page 1049.
Thank you, Speaker.
Manager, Drive Africa, please proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Gerard Otto will do the presentation on the latest COVID-19 stats. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I know it's not part of this item, but I've arranged for 5% of my allowance to go to the Garden Route food pantry. Make sure that the other councillors that also indicated they would like to do the same, that we also do that administratively. But thank you for this report. Thank you, Gerard.
Good afternoon, Speaker, Mayor and all councillors. I've prepared a couple of slides as usual just to bring you up to date of the COVID-19 situation. And without further ado, I'll just carry on with just presenting those slides to you. First of all, if we look at the province, for the province currently there's an average of 130 cases each day, and the number of new cases for the province has now plateaued out. Admissions and deaths still seems to be on a downward trend, and the reproductive number for the province as a whole is on 1 and just above 1 for the Cape Town Metro. We're also around about 1 for the Garden Route district. The test positivity still remains at 5%. This is a graph just indicating the situation in the province, but I think more important is looking at how does it look in our district. Now for the Garden Route district, there's a 14% decrease again in new cases in the last 7 days if we compare this to the previous 7 to 14 days. The two local municipal areas which I was a little bit concerned about was Hessequa and Oudtshoorn, as there was increases in those areas. But in none of the other sub-districts or local municipal areas, there's been a remarkable increase. As I've indicated, there's decreases. The stabilization of George specifically is a good sign. And then positive cases are still coming from widespread areas. We've looked to see if it wasn't linked to specific clusters, and there's no specific clusters that we can pick up. At this point in time, we're on 38 active cases per 100,000 of population. You will note that a week ago, this was on 47 per 100,000 of population. Oudtshoorn and George once again have the highest active cases per 100,000 people, but Oudtshoorn has come down from 71 to 60, and George has come down from 62 to 52. All situations are being monitored by the Department of Health. I've just put this in a graph for you to just indicate. You will also see this in the George Herald and Media tomorrow, where the first wave was, the second wave, and you can clearly now see we're on the lowest point since the beginning of the first wave of infections. I've also just put this in a table format for you, just indicating last time I reported to council was on the 23rd of February, and in the bottom of this slide you can see the active cases for today, and this will be made available to you, but you will see that we're on, in total for the district, 261 active cases, with George being on 125 as being the most. Then specifically per area, per local municipal area, active cases per 100,000 of population, as I've indicated, that it is now 38. We're a little bit up higher than the Western Cape total of 34, but it's still looking good. In terms of our quarantine and isolation facilities, there's only 2 people in isolation at this point in time at the Petro SA facility. Our deaths, unfortunately, at this point, we are at 1,304, and functionally there has been 3 deaths in the last 7 days. Now, I promised on the previous feedback to council, we'll do a little bit more feedback in terms of the vaccination program. Now, the first phase of the COVID-19 vaccination program, George Hospital is the only site in the Garden Route where vaccinations are given. A research company called Task manages an overall process on site in collaboration with the George Hospital staff. Vaccinations are given here for the private and non-private sector, and private hospitals and Department of Health meet weekly on teams to plan and implement the vaccination program. Cooperation and collaboration between the two sections are going well. Private hospitals as well as the Department of Health sub-districts send vaccinators and admin personnel each day to the George Hospital to assist the local teams here. The Department of Health sub-district teams and the George Hospital meets 3 times per week on teams to plan and implement the program. Logistics for arrangements are complex, with large numbers of workers moving to the George Hospital each day to receive their vaccinations. But the Red Dot taxi service has played a pivotal role in support of the transportation of staff to and from the George Hospital. All the sub-districts have had opportunity now to start sending health workers for vaccination, and the sequencing scorecard system is in place to determine the chronological order of persons to receive this vaccine. A total of 2,572 health workers have now been vaccinated, and the next tranche of 1,000 doses of vaccines will be given from Monday the 29th of March until Wednesday the 7th of April. At the end of this period, there should be an equitable distribution of vaccinations done for the different sub-district and health workers. This above is part of the Isisonke program, which is phase 1 of the vaccination program. Now, phase 1B will be a rollout of vaccines to the rest of health workers, and it is expected that this part will be decentralized to the different sub-districts. The planning currently is to now put up the decentralized stations so that vaccinations can be done also in the various local municipal areas. And then after phase 2 and 3 will then follow after 1B rolled out to the general public. In summary, it could be said that the vaccination program is going according to plan in the Garden Route district. I know there's been a remark from the councillors earlier today that the Department of Health should be requested to beef up their program. We are really planning with them in how to beef up this. We've also identified role players from the Garden Route to be part of the vaccination planning program so that we can see how local municipalities can assist the Department of Health to beef up this program. As we know, going forward, we will have to do many more vaccinations than what is currently being done. Now, the George Hospital with Task is successfully managing the complex logistics of the program. There's been teething issues, but most of these issues have been resolved. And then sub-district managers are ensuring that staff are arriving to receive vaccinations whilst keeping the basic services going on in health facilities. And then the private hospitals are very supportive of the program and assisting as necessary. Then just to end off, councillors, going into the Easter period, and I would like to echo what was said earlier by our mayor in the beginning of this meeting, that we should remain vigilant and please remember the 3 golden rules: avoid crowded places, avoid close contact settings, and avoid confined and enclosed spaces. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Gerhard, for keeping still fit after more than a year, keeping us informed, coordinating so many issues. Africa and Gerhard, baie dankie daarvoor. And also thanks to the communication unit that keeps us informed on a daily basis for more than a year. And I think that's exceptional. We never have to wonder. We know exactly every day where we stand with this threat. Thank you. Are there hands? I don't know if I saw wrongly.
It's Elder Lady Wolmerans.
Elder Lady Wolmerans, you also requested to be excused 14:30. Please proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, I just want to make a comment, and I want to thank Gerhard for updating us on a regular basis on this platform. I was privileged to visit the George Hospital yesterday. I went with my daughter, who is also a frontline worker, and I must say that everything went smoothly there. There was only 2 queues, but apparently the 1 queue wasn't necessary if you had your voucher number or something. But I think we must also applaud the Western Cape Department of Health, because everything went smoothly. And I don't know when our turn is going to come, but for now, I think it's a good thing that our frontline workers and our health workers do have these facilities, and that they can be privileged to get the vaccine beforehand. So thank you very much, Speaker. Yes, Speaker, and I request your permission to leave the meeting.
Thank you very much, Elder Lady. Thank you for your input as well. Councillor Harris? Okay, you fine? Councillor Matiwani?
Enkosi mgcini sihlalo nenhlangano. Mgcini sihlalo nenhlangano, ndiyabulela ngengxelo. Into endiyicelayo ukuyiqonda yile. Khange ndiyive. I-target emele uba ivaccinatwe ngeveki ngabantu abangaphi? And kwi-target leyo ngenyanga ngabantu abangaphi emele uba bavaccinatwe? So that sizobona iqhuba kakuhle na okanye iyasilela. Ngoba kaloku umsebenzi wethu kukujonga uba kufikiwe na kwi-target okanye akufikwanga. Utsho mbuzo wami, enkosi.
Diabuler.
Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity. Speaker, I want to ask a question which I couldn't get or understand. I want to know, in terms of the vaccination program and plans, what is the weekly targets and what are the monthly targets in order for us to know for sure how many people should be vaccinated?
Thank you, Gerard.
Speaker, yes, on the previous council meeting, I did report on that. The planning for the Western Cape was 10 times more than they're doing at this point in time. For our area, we foresee that we need to do 5 times more than we're doing now, and that is why the planning is to roll out to the various sub-districts to not duplicate, but to twicely duplicate the efforts that's been done at the George Hospital, to also be done at Knysna and the other regional provincial hospitals. So the planning is in place to be able to cover the amount of people that is needed, and this differs for each of the districts, obviously, and with the staff available. So the logistics around that is exactly what we are busy working with. I will update council every month of where we are in terms of the planning in that regard. The planning team only met once. It was more meet and greet, and just to get on track of where we are. I will have more details at the next council meeting.
Thank you, Gerard. Are you covered, Councillor Matiwani?
Yes, Speaker.
Diabuler. Boahape? Anybody else that would like to say something? None? Thank you, Mr. Meyer. We then move to, we take note, and we appreciate the report, Council. G1, financial support for the erecting of new fencing, as well as the replacement of damaged fencing along the provincial roads network in the jurisdiction of the Garden Route District Municipality. Any input or comment? Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker, that you see my hand this time. Appreciate it. Number one, Speaker, why is this item here? Because surely the funds come from province, and it's a the resolution from province, and obviously we've got it won't cost us anything. It's a subsidy, Speaker, that obviously where the province decided it. So I don't need an explanation because I know the answer, but I just want to do it for the record.
Thank you. That's a question for the record. I can just share with the House, it's a bit, yeah. Gerard, old councillor that passed away 2 months ago, he made use of this last year. Gerard, sorry, I forgot his surname now. He used to be a councillor, and I think he used to be a member of parliament as well for this region. But what I can say about the fencing is Herbertsdale is part of my Ward 7. And the fencing that was put up is top notch. It doesn't look like a farm fence. It looks like a Santon fence in the veld. It is really, whoever did that did very good work. Thank you. A response to that question for the record, a response for the record. Thank you, MM.
Speaker, the purpose of the report is contained in the report, is to request council to note and approve the increase in subsidies and to consider those subsidies. We understand where Councillor van der Roffen comes from, but we have to do this because at the end of the day, we have to account for the money that is spent here by us. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you covered, Alderman van der Roffen?
I've been covered even before I asked the question, Speaker.
Thank you. You just wanted to share your wisdom, or let the wisdom be shared again. Thank you. Those are the two inputs. Can I get any further input? If none, can I then ask for a proposal and a seconder that we approve the increased subsidies?
I so propose, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderlady Kritzinger. Seconder.
I second, Speaker. It's Councillor Strubel here.
Thank you, Councillor Strubel. I know it's administrative, MM, and I know we advertise it, and I know it's on our website that we send out, and that us as ward councillors that read the communications also send it out to everybody that we know. But I think if we can also notify the agricultural unions, die boerevereniging, landbouverenigings, because they quarterly meet, they meet often, which the ward councillors at times also attend. And our new councillor Arno Baker attended on my behalf at Vleesbaai. What's a Voelfontein? What's a Voelvallei? Voelvallei landbouvereniging. Daar's baie voels daar rond. But yeah, that is just a request. I know that.
Noted.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, MM. Thank you. Can we then move to the G2? It's a report on the illegal activities on provincial roads in Garden District Municipality. Pages 1054 to 1057. Thank you, Mr. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the councillor assigned to lead the roads portfolio, Councillor Spies, he have raised the issue that between ourselves, the Garden District Municipality and the Department of Public Works and Roads, we need to find a way of clear guidelines in terms of who will take responsibility when things go haywire, because these are touchy matters and people react when you execute these duties.
Thank you, Emin. Would you like to add to that?
Yes, Speaker. We noted Councillor Spies' contribution in the sense that he wanted us to mitigate any risk against garden routes, so that we must meet with the department and discuss whose liability it is. They can't just dump this on us and then we go around chasing people's things and then they sue this municipality. So we'll have that discussion with the department. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I don't know, Emin, if you need that or if council want that, is to say the market part of the resolution, to say that province be engaged in a formal manner to clarify the roles and responsibilities between us and them regards to adherence to those rules. Would you like that?
That's correct.
You can include that in your letter then to province. A recommendation additional to And I saw in the comments from the legal unit, but I think that once we see that we receive that clarity, that question of Advocate Nadima will also be answered. Thank you. We've got a proposal and a seconder. Yep. Thank you, Elder Lady Kurtzinger, and the mayor also responded to that question. Report on the recovery plan. Recovery plan is H1. And those that listened to SAFN this morning, it was also discussed the recovery plan for the of the country. So, like the mayor, executive mayor always says that it's funny that after our investment conference, National also followed with investment conference. So perhaps we must send a copy of the recovery plan to other spheres as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is something that we really need to go back to the drawing board, and the Premier have emphasized this again to us as mayors, that we need to start looking at our capital projects, and we also need to embark on expanding on capital projects, because that is massive when it comes to turnaround strategies for the economy. And again, Mr. Speaker, and I'm going to hammer this again, that between myself and the CFO, we're still losing 7 million with our resorts. And we really, Mr. Speaker, probably need to have a discussion in terms of we as council, how can we revive what we have started but failed due to political reasons. But I'm sure that we've learned out of that, and we can just probably embark on that, because there is an appetite again out there from developers. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Matiwani.
Enkosi mgcinisihlalo nenhlangano. Mgcinisihlalo nenhlangano uyayibulela ingxelo phambi kwam ethetha ngokukhulisa ngoqoqosho. Kodwa ke mgcinisihlalo nenhlangano, eziba uchairperson we-impact ebesetshilo, le ngxelo ayikhange bafaka abantu aba-informal businesses. Sibuye ke siye kwingxelo yona ngokubanzi ithetha nge-role players, but andimboni uDepartment of Environmental Affairs through SANParks okwenza kwabo ifurniture apha, because bane-factory enkulu basupply izikolo zonke eSouth Africa through i-biomass eyenziwa apha eSouthern Cape, of which bakwiphulo ngoku lo-extender iplant yabo ibiseNice, but ifactory yabo iseJoji. Andiyiboni apha kwe-role players, ibe yenza indima enkulu in terms of uqasha abantu noosomashishini, because zii-small businesses ezi zithi zi-employwe through le program kaSANParks yaka-Department of Environmental Affairs. Ngoko ke bendicinga uba umbuzo wam uba uthi unobangela yintoni engakhange afakwe, kuba etyala more than 5 million kule district yethu, and eyibonile njengedistrict efuna ukhula ukhusa uqoqosho. Ngaba Mpinga inoba unobangela ungakhange uyifake ezi-role player nangona iphuhlisa, kuba maybe unexanasi ngakuthi okanye kwenzeka ntoni? Enkosi.
Ndiyabulela.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I appreciate the report that is in front of me. Speaker, the chairperson of the impact did mention the issue of the inclusion of small businesses. In this report, I can see, Speaker, the exclusion of the role player role that is mentioned, the exclusion of the Department of Rural Environment, that is not here. And in our area, the department is involved in a lot of developments, but such is not reflected in this report. And I also want to know why is that so. And there's a money of 5 million that is also being invested, but that is also not reflected on this report. So I want to know, is there anything that that even the inclusion of the involvement of SANParks in all of that, is there a reason for such not to be included in this report? Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is ringing a bell in my mind from Councillor Matiwane. We are engaging with Cape Nature Sand Parks, but at a different level on a different project. It is called the rewilding of the garden route. And that project is driven out of the Premier's office. And next month, I think on the 8th, we will be meeting them again. And I think this is a part cost for me, something that I can raise in terms of bringing them on board in terms of the inclusivity of the recovery plan, specifically regarding to this item. I can raise that with them and see how we bring them back on board.
Thank you.
Chair, sorry, on the same note, I wanted to say also, the mayor must also bring Department of Environmental Affairs. If you go to Niza, to Karatra, Fali, you go to Renanal, there's eco factories, which have employed a lot of people and small contractors. And they are busy now wanting to expand the eco factory in Renanal. What I'm saying, it's one of the key role players in terms of growing the economy, because that money comes straight from Department of Environmental Affairs. And in this program, which they are doing in Southern Cape, they are supplying all the schools in South Africa with desks, with cheap desks, even in coffins. The factory is here in George, it's under your nose leadership. I think you need to go and visit sometime. You will see things that Southern Cape is doing and taking out of Southern Cape. Thank you.
Ngozi, I request our municipal manager, perhaps just to refer to you to some parts of the report. Thank you, MM.
Thanks, Speaker. I think let us say we note that the list of stakeholders is not exhaustive. It's not the complete list of any stakeholder that we have or every stakeholder that we have. But if you look on page 1066 at number 4, the specific department mentioned is there, which is Environmental Affairs, Forestry and Fisheries, Western Cape. And that's the department Councillor Matiwane is referring to. Secondly, this matter about small businesses, we do have a small business development forum that we're working with. Maybe it might be that in the representation of these stakeholders, there are people that maybe are falling out of the cracks and maybe are informing councillors, but we request that that information be given to us, because we are trying to be as inclusive as possible. And as you know, local government is organized in a structured manner where you deal with specific stakeholders. So if there are some that we have missed, we request that councillors to assist us in that sense. There could be other people that would be of great assistance in the recovery plan as we move forward. So we will not close the doors and say these are the only people that will participate. I'm sure you want to see more private sector people getting involved in the recovery. And as the mayor has said, there are investors out there. Our investment prospectus is making people very interested in what we're doing. Therefore, we might find that there are many other stakeholders that have come. I have a discussion with the AHI last week, Dr. Shilier, and we think that there is a lot that would come from that side as well, including other stakeholders that would not have been part of our process. So maybe Councillor Matiwane, thank you for that comment, but it's really not exhaustive and it's not to the exclusion of everybody else who would want to participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MM. Those of us who do not understand what my MM said, the AHI is the Afrikaanse Handelsinstituut. Thank you, MM. Am I correct, Melanie? Thank you. Can we then, you've got H1. The mayor also responded to that. Can we move on? Thank you. And thank you for all the effort, Executive Mayor, and all the staff involved. Report regarding the garden route growth and development strategy, page 8. Item H2, pages 1102 to 1180. Any input or comment on this report? Thank you, Elder Lady Kretsina.
I so propose, Speaker.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kretsina.
I will second it, Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy Executive Mayor. Amen. Thank you.
Speaker, I realize it's late in the day, but this is a very critical milestone that we are able to table this strategy today. You would have heard when the chairperson of the audit committee was addressing council, she did refer to it specifically that because of COVID, we had to move the deadlines up to today. So I really would want to congratulate Mr. Menze, Melanie, and the team for a very good job well done. In January, we approved our investment prospectus, and now we are approving the long-term growth and development strategy. I think it's the legacy this council will be leaving behind, something that you can be proud of from your term. It is a pity that it's always true that those who come first in certain epochs, they only lay down the plans, and those who come after them will reap the rewards for what will come out of those. And if you look at the investment prospectus and you combine it with this growth and development strategy, you can see that this district has got a huge potential to grow. And on our side as the administration, if it was not for COVID, we're going to make a lot of noise about this, and we're still going to do it. And I do think, Mr. Mayor, when an opportunity arises, we should, when you do your State of the District address, spend a lot of time on this, because this is one thing that we need to show the world, that this is what Garden Trip looks like. This is what it will look like in the long term to come. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm very concerned. This is not the first item that the keep on referring that it's the last time. Now, my question is, are we not coming back?
The term of council ends in August. Yeah. That's what we're referring to, Mr. Mayor. So there will be an election and you might come back. You may not.
But
thank you.
Yeah, some of us might not come back also. But let me ask from my side, remember, Executive Mayor, I really bragged about the prospectus. And Zoliswe gladly assisted me with other people to wrap it nicely at a mooi sakkie. And I bought some biltong and droewors and chocolates from my own pocket. And it's not gelukkig is my sakke deep. So what I did was to put that into the prospectus, and I presented to the Executive Mayor of Mossel Bay, the Speaker, and the And they really appreciated that. And it was not just a letter or a piece of paper that I gave them. It was something really not only to brag about, but something that you can sell. And when people look at that, ons is nie arm gate nie. And they could see these are not amateurs. These are people that are proud of what they're doing. And I plead this to me, because I always say you can have a policy and you can have whatever. If you don't have a strategy, you lack implementation and you will not receive your objective. You might have a nice vision and a mission and what policy, but if you don't have a strategy, how are you going to get there? It's like a roadmap and a GPS when you're in Europe and Africa and you don't know where the hell you are. This gives guidance to how we're going to get where you want to be. And I'll really appreciate from my side if I can have this type of strategy to all of us that represent B municipalities. So that we can go to our executive mayors and our MMs and the leadership in our local municipalities and say, look at this. We're glad to share it with you. And in the end, All for one and one for all. We are one. Let's just do it together. Sorry that I abused my, it's not authority, the opportunity just to say what I would love to say. Thank you. We then move, well, I think this is the end. We need to go into closed session. And then we need to go to the special council. Can I then request in closed session? There's only one item that we need to consider. You may decide which of your officials may stay behind, but can I then request that we move into closed session? And those in the areas where, even at home, make sure that you are alone and nobody else listens to what we're saying now. This is a closed session. Tell them to go wash their hands or make some tea. If you've got company in your vicinity, this is a closed session and it's for councillors only, with those officials that the MM considers to be part of. Thank you. I give you 10 minutes, sorry.
Can I request the IT people to